Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Obviously we are now in the full swing of Eurovision season, and so it is time for the tier list, for the ranking. I've already done one this year, I'm not going to do any more probably. Want to sort of just try and get all my thoughts into one video rather than splitting it half and half. I'm going to try and make this one go by a bit quicker. I understand the last ones have been very rambly, very long. So I'm going to try and keep it concise. So, to try and get started as soon as possible, we introduce the tiers. We have, obviously, as I usually do, almost like tier sections, but based on ranking rather than by like S or F scale, like tier list would normally be. So we have the active detriment tier. This is the tier for songs that I think actively make the contest worse by being here. We have the don't care for tier, songs that aren't really for me, songs that I haven't really been able to connect to personally. Average tier, pretty good, pretty bad, somewhere in between. Pretty good stuff, very solid songs, with a couple of negative bits in between. We've got some strong highlights, some songs that are very good, and will, actively make me want to engage. And then we have the outstanding songs, 1 to 5, the songs that make it worth watching this year. Because this year, honestly, is a little bit of a rough one for the most part. So let's start off. Let's get this on the show on the road. We're going to start off at the bottom, work our way up to the top as per normal. So we have the active detriment tier, songs that actively make the contest worse by being involved. And at the very bottom, the bottom rank, I have Germany as the very first one. So let's talk a little bit about plagiarism. Plagiarism is a word that's thrown around a lot. It's a word that is pretty overused. As an example, there's already been several accusations of plagiarism this year. For Luxembourg, for example, after they won, there was accusations of plagiarism of exactly one melodic line. Yes, fun stuff. I'm not going to throw that word around, plagiarism. What I am going to instead use is the word derivative. So, obviously, this song, Fire, Sarah Engels, both in, I guess, general appearance, lyrical content, and staging, is extremely derivative of Firefighter by Nutzer. And if you're going to do hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change it up and make it not obvious. Probably best to do that on a song not from 2 years ago. It's just blatant, no? This is just Firefighter by Nutzer, but again. And if you're going to copy or like be derivative of a previous entry, at least make it one that did well, not one that finished bottom 5 in the final? Question mark? This song doesn't need to exist. It shouldn't exist. It's boring, formulaic, generic, bland. Nothing good about it. And to make it worse, it copies one of the best songs from 2 years ago and tries to pass it off as its own original thing. Speaking of boring, generic, bland, bringing nothing new to the contest, we have Estonia just above that. I'm going to do my best to try and avoid talking about national finals and what songs could have been. Instead, I think it's best to focus on what songs are here and what they bring to the table, whether positively or negatively. But in this case, I do want to just briefly discuss the fact that Eesti Lau this year had plenty of choices, plenty of options. There was so much Estonia could do. And they went with what might be the worst of the lot. The song offers nothing that we've not heard before, offers nothing unique. It's going to be dead on arrival. It's unfortunate the way what's happened to Estonia. But we move. Let's talk a little bit about AI generation, guys. So Azerbaijan's down here. I think AI in music is going to be one of the scariest things as we progress through the years. Trying to determine if a song has been made by actual human hands or by a robot. In this case, it is so very, very obvious that this song is AI generated, looking at the songwriter's previous works, and the fact that he has a song basically exactly the same as this one that has been made fully by AI. The lyrics have been changed very slightly, so I guess it's been generated by AI, then run under human hands to like edit, I guess. But the song brings nothing new, song brings nothing worth talking about. Get this AI slop out of my contest. Speaking of get out of my contest, speaking of derivative and copying, hey, isn't it funny how the country that was crying so hard about Iceland last year copying Israel wedding song or whatever, have now gone and basically sent a copy of C'est la vie. Me when my original work is original. No, I mean, look, there's no point in them being here. They offer nothing to this contest, and I don't know why they still are. I don't know why they insist on inserting themselves into a space where nobody wants them and offering nothing new to the table. If every song they sent was a 10 out of 10 banger, maybe we'd be having a conversation that's slightly different. But we're not. They're sending the same sloppy, crying shite every year, and it doesn't get any better. Will they do anything original ever? Maybe, but let's not go there. Okay, next up we have the Don't Care For tier. Songs that, okay, sure, there's like maybe something good about them, maybe there's a reason they exist, but I don't really have strong opinions on them, like positively. I think starting off this tier we have San Marino. This is just like a great song to sort of summarize this tier. Like, obviously, I can see what they were going for. I can see what type of song they were trying to make. I just think it is so nothing. It is so unnecessary in this day and age. Like, we've heard a million of these before. We don't need another one. So, we can forget about this one and move on. Above that, we have Poland. Again, nothing unique to the table. Nothing that's not been done before. I mean, Poland, looking at their national final, didn't really have much choice. So I guess Alicia gets her chance, sure. But, like, nothing about the song really draws you in, really hooks you in. Like, yeah, she can sing well, she has a good voice, but as I've said in previous videos, just having a good voice in this contest isn't enough. You need something more to your song than just singing well, because 90% of the people in this contest can sing well. If that's all you offer, you're offering nothing, basically. We move. Alright. Next up on the list, we have none other than Portugal. I mean, it's such a nothing song. To be fair, we said the same about Deslocado last year. A lot of people said the same thing, me included. I also said that, they didn't offer too much. But at the same time, at least last year, I could acknowledge the artistry in it. I could acknowledge that Deslocado was definitely for someone. There would be people who have moved away from home, who constantly look back and reminisce, who the song is made for. I can't see the same with Rosa. I can't see who this is for. And that's, I think, the scary thing for this song. It doesn't really have a target audience. So I think whereas Deslocado at least had people who could relate to it and understand what the song was going for, I think this does not have that in the slightest. It's missing that sort of group of people that would be hooked onto it. Yeah, me included. I don't get it. I'm not planning to get it, and yeah. This one is a case of getting what the song is going for and fully understanding the target audience. Problem is, it's just not for me, and it's so not for me. If you like Kraimene, if you have Kraimene as your number one of the year, I completely understand. I completely get it. I get why. The problem is that I dislike this style of music, for the most part, with a few exceptions. And so it's going to lose a lot of points from me just because, as I say, this is my subjective ranking. I don't like the song as much. But I understand what it's going for, and I respect what it's going for. So I can at least, put it above the songs that are actively bad and have no reason to exist. At least this has a reason to exist. So up here, I mean, the slop comes every year, right? I don't understand France. I think Barbara Pravi Voila was the worst thing to happen to French Eurovision. I get it gave them a direction. It sort of gave them an identity in the contest. They always send these big, powerful anthems of real sort of meaning and depth. And that's awesome. Maman, Mon Amour. I think Évidemment was slightly different, but still sort of had that flair about it, that French flair. And this also does, but it's still the average French entry. Nothing has really changed. At least Slimane had a gimmick. He could sing really loudly away from the microphone. Awesome. At least Luan had a gimmick. She shit sand. That was her gimmick. I don't know what Monroe's gonna do. I have no idea. But it's more French slop. And also the last song in the Don't Care for tier is Switzerland, unfortunately. I think conflict in the message of the song and the music video aside, just for context, so the message of the song is from the perspective of an abuser in an abusive relationship, right? The song is obviously like, the lyrics are talking a lot about, oh, I know you really love me, I know you want to be with me, stuff like that. And it's really manipulative and controlling, without sort of expressing that love from the point of view of the narrator of the song. But the music video kind of paints Veronica as that person who's looking at this marriage from the outside, like, I know you really love me, I know you, and that conflict in music video and lyrical, like I think the song has a great message. I just unfortunately think the music video takes away from that. And also the song just isn't very interesting. Like, I really appreciate what the message that she's trying to send to people with the song. Obviously, like, look out for the red flags, be aware of, controlling and manipulative behavior. It's a really important message to have. But I think the song itself isn't very interesting. Even though I can respect the message and I like the message, I think that it's not really going to stand out too much. So we move on to average. These are songs that are very middle of the road, very, pretty good, pretty bad. Some good stuff, some bad stuff. Or for some, neither of the above. Songs that don't really have any positive or negative qualities, which we'll get to. Albania is an example of the former, where positives, very powerful. He's got a fantastic booming voice. He can really capture sort of like almost anthemic and meaning in the song, which is great. Negatives, the song's not very catchy. The song's not going to stick with you. Eurovision has a lot of performance songs, and it has a lot of almost replayable songs. Or I guess, like, there's performance songs and there's, I guess, streaming songs. And streaming songs will be songs that you can listen to over and over again, that you won't get, that you're designed to not get bored of, that are really listenable and really catchy. And sometimes they don't translate well onto a stage. I think of like UK 2023 is a really good example of that. The song is, I wrote a song by May Muller, incredibly catchy, incredibly re-listenable. You can play that song, on the radio or, in your car, and you won't question it, and you're going to listen and love it. On a stage, it doesn't really translate. But by that same token, songs like None by Alice, or, a lot of Eurovision songs, an example I think of, there's a few from this year, like Denmark from this year, where you can play them on the radio and it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm feeling this. But you put them on a stage and you're like, oh, I get it now. That's what I think Albania is. Which is neither here nor there. It's pretty good, pretty solid, but also like very, very much at this stage of the contest and not going to bend itself well to a few rankings. In the neither positive nor negative category of this one, we have Italy. Yeah, it's an Italian wedding song that's like slightly disco oriented. Awesome. Okay, I don't know. There's not much to say about it. It is what it is. Like, it's the most Italian entry they could have done. I think Safe or Dito nella Piaga would have been better, but we have this one and it's fine. What's grown slightly on me is Solo Quiero Más. I think understanding a bit more about what the song is about and who it's for, I think is, quite important to making sure it actually catches with people. I'm really not sure about this song's potential. I don't think it has too much replayability. I don't think it has that real viral potential. At least Lion Seca has a look that but they are going to have to paint themselves silver every day for the next 2 months, so that's fun. Yeah, solid, but not fantastic. Now I have Cyprus. This is my most controversial opinion so far, I think. Outside of maybe Serbia. This is my most controversial opinion so far. My problem with Jala is just that it feels so inauthentic. This is a song and a music video and a package that really, wants to show off Cypriot culture. It feels like very Cyprus, very Greece coded, very Mediterranean coded. It's all about the culture of Cyprus, all about, Cypriot traditions, and that has a real feel to it like that. However, it is sung by a woman named Antigone Buxton, who was born in London, is a Nepo baby, whose biggest claim to fame was being on Love Island for 8 days. Like, can we be so for real? You could pick a person to sing this better, and it would make the package more complete. But you've picked some random London woman who has no relation to Cyprus other than being of Cyprus, who has no relation to Cyprus other than being of Cypriot descent, and it feels so inauthentic. It feels like it's a lab-grown song. You ask ChatGPT to be like, "Hey, what would a song from Cyprus Eurovision entry sound like?" And they've made this, and it. If it came from someone who had like a deeper connection to the country, it would feel more authentic than what it does. Which it's not a problem. Like, obviously you can respect and be part of your heritage and your ancestors and who they came from. I just don't know if this is the right way to do it. I might be that one friend that's too woke, or maybe not woke enough. We'll find out. But yeah, for me, it just feels too inauthentic to be any higher. Next up, I have the UK. In a year where we have possibly the most positive reception to our entry that I've seen in a while, is the year that I think I like our song the least thus far, compared to at least the last 3 or 4 years. This year I think I am the lowest I've been on a UK entry. It's fine. I just do not see the vision in terms of like how this is supposed to be staged, how this is supposed to be sold to the masses. We're trying to break our streak of 0 televote points. I don't know if this is the song to do it. Maybe we'll get 1 point from Germany because we say 1, 2, 3 in German. Awesome. To me, I think the song, like, you can barely understand the lyrics for the English, or not English, but for the British entry, where English is the home language, and you can barely understand the English that he's saying, which, to be fair, is very on brand for half of the UK. So, fair enough. But, yeah, this song's just not for me. We move to Ukraine. I think there are some really good vocal moments here. I think the vocal is actually, like, outstanding, which is better than just being good. I think her vocal really stands out, which is the important thing. You can have good vocals, everybody has good vocals, you need vocals that really stand out. I think that's great, but I think the rest of the song, the rest of the package around it isn't fantastic. How far can her vocals carry her? We'll find out. But yeah, it's probably one of the least memorable Ukrainian entries in a while. Still higher than what I had Bird of Prey initially, so, we'll take take anything I say with a grain of salt, because things can change in 2 months. Moving on to the pretty good stuff tier, I'm basically positive on all of the songs from here. Slightly less positive at the start, but obviously, as I say, we'll get better as it goes on. Montenegro, I think, is a song I respect more than I like. I get what it's going for. I get the idea behind it. I think it's just not exactly my style. Still, very, very strong entry, good vocals, good production, pretty catchy chorus and a decent beat drop. Sure, we'd take it. It's good, solid stuff. Definitely better than last year's. Then we move on to Lavia. Another song that I think I respect more than like. Like, I think that the song has a very, very important message. I think the song, has a real meaning to Advara that, that sells it, that makes it feel almost personal, and that really can elevate songs. It's another sort of Latvia sleeper entry where like Tautomatus, like Dons, that doesn't hit you until it, catches you on a sad day, or like or like in Tautomatus' case, it catches you on a day where you're not expecting it. and suddenly the song is like, oh my god, I get it now. This song actually has real purpose. I alluded earlier to this. Denmark I have up next, talking about performance songs versus replayable streaming songs. This, I think, is a performance song. No one was really talking about it when it was first revealed until people saw Soren on stage performing for Vigarheim. I think, unfortunately for me, this is giving the Belgium of this year. I think it's going to be a Euro fans like, oh my god, look at, it's pretty high in the odds. It's probably slightly more popular with the fans than Belgium was, but I don't think it's like got a huge chance of qualifying as cleanly as people think it does. I think in a year as weak as this, it probably will qualify fairly easily, but by that same token, I think Strobe Lights would have qualified this year as well. So that's what I mean by Belgium this year. It's kind of giving, you know, people think it'll do better with the juries than it will, but in a year like this, I think it still has a decent chance of doing well, because the year is just naturally weaker. Still, I respect what the song's going for. I think it's very well choreographed, very well performed, and have to give it props for that. It's pretty good stuff. Against pretty much every part of my better judgment, I have Bulgaria up here. This should be a song that I despise. This should be a song that I hate on principle. It is almost like an annoying song about nothing that really, really is built to grind my gears specifically. But for some reason, there's something really charming about the way she performs it. I'm supposed to look at this and get secondhand embarrassment. I'm supposed to look at this and cringe. But I don't. I look at this and I'm like, oh, she's having the time of her life. And I think that's quite sweet. I shouldn't like this. I should find this annoying. I should find the fact that she says Bangaranga 30 times, which means nothing. Like, it's supposed to be based off of, obviously, Jamaican patois for Bangarang, which means, like, crazy, or obviously she says it's riot. But, like, I don't know what it is. Something about the way she sings it. It was like, yeah, she's having fun. Let her have fun. ChatGPT, generate me a Eurovision top 5 entry that will appeal to juries. ChatGPT generating Eclipse by Delta Goodrem. Look, I'm going to be honest. I think the song is good. The ChatGPT bit obviously is a bit harsh. I think the song is good. I think she has a powerful voice. I just saw her perform the acoustic version of the song, sung that live. She's a very good vocalist. You know, this is like the safest Australia qualification they've had in a while, especially with juries back in the semi. So, you know, happy with the way that that's going. I think she'll be fine. The song's pretty solid. Nothing incredible, nothing groundbreaking that we've not seen before. But I think you take it as a pretty good entry. Next up, we have Austria. We have Tanschein. I just, you know, I have a real sweet spot for this song, and I don't really know why. I think it's very creative. I think the message behind the song is actually very, very fun. I think he thinks he's being a lot smarter than he is, but no, the message of the song is nice. Obviously, like, it's double layered in terms of it's a message, it's a song about, or a song against, you know, creeps and weirdos who go to clubs just to prey on, I guess because they're animals, to pick up women and that do nothing else. And obviously then it's obviously supposed to be, you know, you need to have a license to dance. You need to have a dance license to get in this club. So you got to enjoy yourself. So that obviously double-layered message of, you know, don't be weirdos at clubs, but also, you know, join in and dance and have fun. Which is really nice. It thinks it's being smarter about the metaphor than it is. But the metaphor is still good, the song is still catchy, it's still got a good groove to it. And I'm a real sucker for deep voice singing, especially in German. So it was kind of built in a lab to appeal to me and me specifically. And next up, my most controversial opinion in this entire video. I don't think any other opinion I have in this video is going to come close to how controversial it is to have Belgium this high. There's two reasons why I have Belgium this high. And none of those reasons have anything to do with her voice or the lyrics. You can take Esila out of this song, and it'll be just as good, if not better, depending on who is inserted in singing it. The reason why I have this song so high is because it is one of the best goddamn vocal / production jobs I've ever seen in a Eurovision song in a long while. I think the way that the production follows the one bass line throughout the entire song. Obviously, those sort of 15-second long pre-choruses with the layered vocals with the harmonies, absolutely phenomenal. Like, for the biggest sell of this song is the production, the layering, the sort of slow build, because on the last chorus, obviously, where everything comes in at once, and it brings the harmonies in with the Call Me Queen, I Won't Lie, on top of the Dancing on the Ices. I think, you know, it's fantastic. The lyrics don't mean anything. Asila as a performer brings absolutely nothing to this song, but it's one of the cleanest production jobs I have seen in a very long time, and that's what carries this song so high for me. Okay, so strong highlights, songs that are very, very positive, songs that are fantastically done. We have, first of all, Luxembourg as my number 12. Very, very cute song, you know, with a very meaningful message about preserving the world that we have. I think it's fantastic. I think it's well performed. Also, fun fact, the first song I have ever witnessed win a national final live at the venue. I was in Luxembourg for this song. Performed very well. Violins fantastic. Yeah, very good stuff. Very, very good stuff. Very cute. Then we have On Replay. A song that I think was hyped up to be a lot more than it has been. Still good. Still very catchy. Still very smooth. Very slick produced. I just think, you know, the hype surrounding this song, especially the teaser, was real. It was like, oh my god, this is going to be, you know, one of, like, possibly George's best entry ever. It turned out to be just a pretty solid entry. But, you know, still very good. I think the lyrics could have done a bit more. It was supposed to have a message about, like, being against AI and, you know, almost fighting the good fight, listening to human-produced music, but it didn't end up landing. Still, very solid stuff. Happy to say George is just outside the top 10. So now we get to said top 10, and the first one of those, all of these songs here I think are actually really, really decent. Again, not as strong as previous years, but still very, very solid. You know, like I was talking about 2025 in my last video, and pretty much my top 26 to top 27 were all songs I was really positive on, or at least leaning pretty positive on. And this year, I think I can only really say that about maybe my top 19. Although some of those songs are songs I respect more than like, which is slightly different. Anyway, first in the top 10 we have Armenia as number 10. I think it's a banger. I think it's a real banger. That sort of synth guitar riff that comes around in the main hook is definitely the highlight of the song. The Wasted Love style ending is actually executed very well. I didn't think I'd find myself saying this, but it's one of the best executions of a Wasted Love style ending that we have this year, which is cool. Very happy to see it. Yeah, overall, just a very, very solid song. A real banger. Hopefully gets a few televote points. Pretty good stuff. We move to Norway next. A song that, for the most part, the song itself isn't anything special. It's not a standout song in terms of its, you know, in terms of its lyrics or anything. In fact, the lyrics kind of take away from the song a little bit. What is the big standout of this song, and what single-handedly drags this song to the top 10 is Jonas himself. He is an incredible performer. He's charismatic. He's got good stage presence. He probably has the best stage presence of any performer this year. You know, he's sort of like the Erika Vikman of this year, where the where the song and the kind of almost the staging are kind of nothing. Nothing's really happening in the song or the staging, but they both carry their song by just stage presence alone. Jonas brings a very similar vibe to that as Erika did last year, where they're almost minimalist staging in a way, but their stage presence just does the job for them and makes the song really stand out because of that. Very good stuff from Norway in terms of picking the right person. I wish he had a better song, because if he had a better song, he'd be a potential winner contender, possibly. Next I have Moldova. Song has gotten better and better, aged better and better as the season's gone on. I think this is a bit of fun that we need. This is a little bit of, like, almost not quite silly, because it's actually got a, you know, decently serious notion behind it, that, you know, Moldova is European and needs to be almost like treated as European. wants to sort of lend itself to its, wants to be appreciated by its European brethren. But it is still incredibly fun, incredibly catchy, incredibly upbeat, just a really good time overall. Very happy to see Moldova really, really come into its own this year. Very happy to have them back as well. Okay, next up we have Greece. The song was dragged a little bit down for me because of the AI music video, but outside of that, this song has been a highlight of the season, to be honest. It's been a very strong highlight of the season. That's why it's in this tier. It's very catchy, has some wild, incredible, fun ideas. I think the lyrics are cool. I think the production is cool. I think the staging needs to be massively improved, but I chalk that down to the Greek national final not having a budget. I think for actual Eurovision, he will have a much stronger performance, and I'm very excited to see what he can bring to the table, because I think this is a real, energetic, fun piece of music. I'm very excited to see what happens with it next. And last off in the strong highlights tier, we have Czechia. This is kind of like the, I guess you could call it, I want to say like the wasted love from Teemu, from Wish. Not exactly, because obviously, it's not got that operatic element to it like Wasted Love does, but it feels very similar. Like the production and the backing is very minimalist and focuses entirely on Daniel as a performer and his voice. The song itself, is actually really, really, really strong in terms of the way it builds, in terms of the way it really lets... It's down to really let his voice shine. I don't have huge confidence for this after what they did to Kiss Kiss Goodbye last year. But if they, second time's hopefully the charm, if they get the staging right, if they get the performance right, this is a dark horse to go very far. Because if this is sung well and performed well, juries will love this because of how technically difficult it can be. So we'll see how it goes. Obviously, again, it's very much up in the air how well Czechia can stage this. But if they can stage it well, we're on for a very big performer here. Okay, top 5. All of these 5 songs are outstanding. All 5 of these songs are real highlights of the season. They're songs that have made this season almost worth it in a way to sit through, because a lot of the national finals have been very poor. A lot of the situations around this contest this year have been very poor. But these 5 songs have really made it worth it to be a Euro fan this year. At number 5, the first of which is Liekien Hayten. I'm going to say it now, declaring it now, like this is just the winner of the contest. Nothing else is going to win the contest outside of this one. It is probably the most obvious winner we have seen in a very, very, very long time. At least Lorraine had sort of like that competition from Kadia. And even, on the day, you weren't sure which way it was going to go. But with this, I think it is just, like, there's nothing else competing with it. Which is very disappointing. I really hope that Peter has a voice break or something at the jury show and it doesn't get carried as hard. Because I love the song. I think the song is like a 10 out of 10. But it feels too perfect. It feels far too perfect. So I kind of want to see something else take the victory this year. Because I think this would be too obvious of a winner. Even then, song is incredible. The violin is absolutely god tier. The staging was one of the best of the last couple of years. Yeah, it would be a deserved winner. I just think it would be too obvious, and I want to see something else take the win. Still, amazing song. 10 out of 10, no notes. Next up, we have My System, Sweden. Another classic Sweden thing of song that is just carried by the staging. To be honest, this is a rare occasion where I'm actually going to say, yes, this time the Swedish song is actually pretty fucking good. The EDM drops are nice, but that last 30 seconds of staging is absolutely just, it's so good. Also very happy that Felicia obviously is now broken away from the Fröken Snusk chains holding her down and can actually be her own artist. So, really happy to see that. And her victory, I think, is a real slap in the face to the old producers of that. But yeah, deserved winner of Melfest. A very, very strong EDM banger that we really do need more of these days. Yeah, fantastic song. Okay, next up we have Bella, Malta. Glad Aiden finally got his chance, and I'm glad it was with the best song that he has entered into MESC. I think the song oozes class, it oozes professionalism, it really does just, show Aiden as a classy, very respectable performer with fantastic vocals. The roses are really refined, it's a real professional touch. It's probably too blatant of like this is designed to be as classy as you can get, that it comes off as a bit cheesy. But I think it's just under that line. I do think the song is immaculate. Very, very little wrong with this. One of the best ballads we've seen in a very long time, performed to perfection. And I'm hoping that this will be a chance for Malta to do really well. Yeah, fantastic stuff. So, we come down to the final two. Both of these songs, I think, are absolute just... one of these songs, they've shared very different journeys. One of these songs started off as just a sort of a footnote on a season with, several really good national final songs, and has very slowly grown its way and wormed its way into being one of the best songs of the season. The other one was like an instant hit from the moment I heard it, and has stayed at like near the top of my rankings ever since it was released. My number 2 is Andromeda. Andromeda is the aforementioned song that really, wasn't a standout for me at first. I think it was too similar to their Dora entry from last year, 2 years ago. It was like a very similar sort of genre, very similar vein to what they'd done before. And it was like, yeah, okay, it's more of what Lelek has shown us previously. It is what it is. But the more the season has gone on, the more I have really grown to appreciate what this song brings. The build-up. I've said before, made it very clear, I love songs with a build-up into a big payoff at the end. I think the way that the last chorus explodes, and then the drums kick in more for the last sort of 15 seconds. The harmonies are gorgeous. We've had our fair share of these entries, obviously Burman Limey and My Sister's Crown, over the last 3 years. I don't think this quite matches how good My Sister's Crown is, but God, if it doesn't get close. Yeah, a fantastic entry. Probably my favourite Croatian entry ever. So they're very happy to see this. Yeah, awesome. Incredible stuff. But my number 1, and I think this is the song that sort of hit me from the moment I heard it, is like, oh, Romania have got something real on their hands here. And I wasn't sure if it was even going to win the national final because it was 100% jury. And you can never tell with some countries, Romania's history, especially what they did to Teodor Andre. It's like, oh, are they going to sabotage their chances this year? But no, they made the right decision. They picked the right entry. I think Choke Me is like probably the just exactly what they needed. It has real potential, as there's not a huge amount of rock music this year, but especially not rock music with female singers. I think, when your closest competition is Veronica Fasaro, I think you've got a real niche that not many other countries are going to be competing with you for. And, I can't think of a huge amount of female rock songs in the last few years. We had Megara, but obviously they didn't do too well for other reasons, mainly because A, the song was bad, and B, the performance was bad. This song has neither of those problems. The song is incredible. The guitars all the way through is so good. Her voice in the song, I wasn't sure she would do it live. When me and my friends watched the national final performance, we were laughing and joking and doubting her ability to hit this live. And then she did. I was like, oh shit, I was not familiar with your game. But yeah, like, this is the best song by far. It starts at 100, it finishes at 100. There is no like dull moment of this song. It is so far and away the best song this year. And that fuck ass YouTube channel ESC Norway starting a almost hate campaign against this song is the most stupid shit I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, that's been my list. Eurovision this year is a real mixed bag. It's a weak year. It is a weak year compared to normal. But the top end have been some real highlights. So there is still a little bit of that Eurovision magic here. But I think, provided Israel doesn't win the contest, I think it'll be a good outcome. That has been my Eurovision 2026 rankings. I hope you will have a lovely day. I'll see you around. Fuck, it's been 40 minutes. Holy shit. Man.